leaders.
So, Mr. Minister, you have a very impressive background, from Sidi Bouzid to a PhD from Kansas State University, to Paris to State Secretary, and now you're newly elected as the General Director of the Arab Agency for Atomic Energy.
Yes, born in Sidi Bouzid, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of it. And I would like to remind you what I have been doing. First of all, I started as an engineer in rural engineering from the National Institute of Agronomy in Tunis. And then I went to Paris, Grignon, for a specialized engineer in rural engineering. And then I came back to Tunisia, and in 1980, I was enrolled in a PhD program in Kansas State University in an engineering program. And I finished the courses in 1986. Then I went back to Tunisia and I started as a teacher in the School of Food Engineering in Tunisia until 1991. And then I went back to the States to work in the same department I was graduated from, as accidentally and purposefully, of course. In 2000, I became a full professor of the university, and till 2011, I was the general director of the School of Food Engineering in Tunisia. And in January 2011, I was enrolled in the government of the first government after the revolution of Si Mohammed al-Ghannouchi, the first and the second, because he had two governments. And then I continued with Professor Beji Qaid Sibsi till December 2011. And from then, after we resigned from this, collectively resigned from this government, I started as a beginner in the restricted staff of Nida Tunis to create this new party. And in 2014, we were elected as a majority. Nida Tunis was a majority. And we had 86 deputies in the parliament, and I was one of them. And since then, we are the successive governments. They came as a majority from the Nida Tunis. In that's basically all. I presented my candidacy to the Arab Atomic Agency as a candidate because the former general director is Tunisian, and he had approximately the same courses.
Okay, so what are the plans of the AAEA to change in the nuclear sector for the entire region?
First of all, I was representing the Tunisian people as a member of the parliament. Now I am going to represent the whole Arab world in this new job. The main goals, or if you want, the main objectives that I am going to track, or I am going to have all my attention, is the water stress that we have in the Arab world, and the lack of the amount of electricity that we need. You know, the Arab world is being in a very high water stress, and we are having a shortage in the electricity. As 49%, as I would like to remind you one thing, 49% of investors, they are having problems with the electricity in MENA, Middle East and North Africa. Our electricity is not stabilized, and during summer season we have a lack of electricity, and most of the Arab world is having problems with electricity and with water, drinking water.
So is there like a national strategy, or maybe for the entire
International,
region to...
there is an international strategy. I would like just to point out one thing, that the Emirates are starting building a unit for a nuclear unit to produce electricity and to desalt water, seawater. The same thing is being in Saudi Arabia. They are building a unit, and I would imagine that most of the Arab world is going to go this policy in the future, because we are having lots of problems with drinking water and with electricity, if you want.
Do you see Tunisia as a country building a unit in the near future?
Why not? If we do have the money for it, and we do have the safety for the unit and for the people who are working with. We should go for that. I would like to remind you one thing. If you remember, maybe you are young, when Dr. Bashir Turki started with a nuclear program. He wanted to create a unit in Ghannouch, Gabs, to produce electricity. If we had continued the same objective, we should not be in the state that we are now. I would like also to point out the objective of this agency is to connect all electrical power plants between Arab countries. So if there is a country that is having a lack of producing electricity, the other country will produce it, will deliver it.
So we're talking about strategic partnerships.
We are talking about strategic partnership between Arab countries, and we should construct this.
So how many units are there in the Arabic region?
For the time being, as I told you, there is one
in Saudi
Arabia in the process of construction, and the other one is in the Emirates. And I would imagine that there will be one in Egypt very soon, maybe in Jordan.
Okay, and maybe in Tunis.
Maybe in Tunisia, I hope.
Leaders.